Hello, everyone. Happy Thursday. Welcome to another session of our Deskera Thursday weekly webinar series. I am Tim McLaughlin, part of the sales team here at Deskera in Minneapolis, Minnesota, coming to you with Taylor Otto. We're going to be talking about production planning and scheduling today. Taylor, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah, hello everyone. My name's Taylor Otto, implementation consultant here at Deskera, part of these weekly webinars. Excited to be back for another week to discuss production planning and scheduling and how that can help your business.
Exciting stuff. Thank you, Taylor. So last week we talked a bit about forecasting within Deskera. Today we're going to continue that conversation. We'll go over some of the things that we spoke about last week and then expand upon that within the full picture of production planning and scheduling, because those two do work a little bit together. If that's something you're interested in seeing more about, I welcome you to check out our YouTube channel and you can see that video from last week, or you can see it also on LinkedIn as well. Taylor, can you introduce us to production planning and scheduling today? Why would I need a software for my production planning and scheduling?
Yeah, Tim. Production planning and scheduling is basically just making sure you are prepared for different aspects of your business, making sure that you have enough product to fulfill orders, making sure you have enough product to create work orders, and making sure that you are being as efficient as possible with your time, with your employees' time, with how you're scheduling your jobs out, and again, just trying to make sure that you are on top of every order that comes in, getting it out in a reasonable manner, and being able to prioritize and using software to help you prioritize, just to ensure everything is running as efficiently and smooth as possible.
All right, so we're setting ourselves up to have the most successful day as possible by using that data that we have in an interconnected system. When I think about the ways that Deskera is helpful for that, I like to think about what it looks like and what we hear people when they come to us wanting to switch from their manual processes or using a single software that might not be connected to part of their process, where maybe I'm doing my scheduling, I have a calendar on the wall behind me for what I plan on doing each day, and if something changes, I have to scratch that out. That's not going to automatically pop over to a job card that I'm giving to my employees each day. One of the benefits of using an interconnected system is that when you make those little changes, instead of having to work through 3, 4, 5 different places, everything can be streamlined and connected.
Yeah, and just to echo what you said, a lot of clients that come to us that don't have software in place are utilizing 4, 5, 6 different documents, trying to piece together information to plan, and it can be incredibly time consuming and challenging to wrap your head around all these different data points in front of you. And when you're doing things manually, all of this stuff is going on in your head, and it can get stressful at times. The potential to miss data or misread data or mishandle data becomes more likely when you're doing all this yourself. For me, when I've got a gazillion things going on at once and I'm trying to piece together information, it's almost impossible to do that. So having software that can help you handle this data and piece this data together for you is extremely beneficial. Not to mention the time and the visibility, being able to not have to do this math and try and plan for all these different elements that could potentially happen. You think about forecasting that we talked about last week, where you've got different raw materials, maybe they're used in different work orders and for different products, and trying to account for all that and do that math is tough. And again, the likelihood for error goes up. So just having a tool to kind of automate that process, help put things together for you, is just so beneficial, not to mention the visibility for everyone instead of just that one person in that physical document that you have.
Here we go. Well, let's go ahead and get right into some of the biggest gains. We've touched on this briefly in our current conversation, but some of the things that we see people benefiting from when they make that switch. We talk a lot about having that efficient planning process, about how you want to be able to win that day by having as much information as possible in an easy, accessible way to where you can plan and get everything sorted out the way you need it to get the projects and tasks done each day.
Yeah, we talk about the efficient planning process, and it kind of touches back on the forecasting module that we touched on last week. If you haven't had a chance to check that webinar out, please go ahead and take a look at that. But utilizing that software, I'll show you in Descara here how we can use this information to plan accordingly with our products. You have the different materials that you're working with, different raw materials, and kind of what your anticipated sales are per month, and then being able to plan ahead, using those anticipated sales to plan, hey, am I going to have enough raw material to make these products, or do I have enough materials to sell these products? If I'm just looking at products that I'm just buying and selling. Utilizing lead times is huge in planning. One of the cool tools that we have is an order by date. So, taking into consideration the lead time that you have for a particular project, what date you need to order that by to make sure you have enough to fulfill for that next month. Going back to trying to do this manually, having to do math and, think about all these different variables and logistics, having a tool to do this for you, very beneficial in your planning to make sure that you're providing the needs for your customers at an efficient time, and preventing yourself from having to overbuy or buy at the last minute, and save yourself some money.
Right, and that master forecast is one valuable tool. But what I really like to think about when it comes to Descara is the way that we have these multiple modules that are going to be interconnected, and it'll give you this entire holistic view of your manufacturing floor and of your needs each different day. So we think about the way we can break down through different job cards and have those connected to that master forecast there, everything from job cards to scheduling, all through these 3 modules where you're able to see into that workday, see what everybody's doing, see what needs to be done, make changes on the fly, and adapt as needed. I think it could be valuable for us to take a quick look at those job cards. Are you able to do that for us today, Taylor?
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about just having a view of what's going on your manufacturing floor. If you're a supervisor and you need to know, which employee's working on what needs to be done, what needs to be prioritized, and having a tool to see that and be able to interact with your employees without, standing over your employee's shoulder or sitting in the shop floor and just having to see everything to understand what's going on. Taking a look at our job cards module here, it lists out all different jobs that we have going on in our warehouse, the status that it's at. So some that we haven't started yet, if things are in progress, any on hold, and ones that we've completed already. Being able to drill into this, see, if there's anything that needs to be done, if there's any dependencies, having that visibility, being able to see that, see the work order that it's tied to, very beneficial. We talk about planning, for our employees. And, one point with forecasting is making sure that you have enough time employees to fulfill orders. Let's say you're expecting a big month, whether that's Black Friday or whatever the case may be. And you got to make sure that you've got enough employee help on hand and planned and scheduled to fulfill all those needs. Well, we can, on a day-by-day basis, take a look at job cards by operator. So I can see, on a daily basis, who of my employees are working on what in a particular day. Is so-and-so, do they have a light or low today? Can they afford to pick up some more jobs? Having that visibility, being able to interact and assign jobs to different employees is a very helpful tool where my employees can see what's going on. I can see what's going on my job floor without having to go stand around and watch, and being able to kind of make those decisions and plan accordingly based on this visibility.
Absolutely. And one of the things that I think is really cool about this, so we're looking here and we can see we have these 6 employees in front of us. We see one of them, Will Anderson, doesn't have anything assigned to them today. And I can see that Michelle here on the left has a little bit heavier load. Or say John there, maybe he called in sick today. Something came up and John couldn't make it in. With this, you can easily switch the jobs over to a different employee. And within that process, when they clock in through Descara, they'll be able to see their job cards for the day. When they come in, they know what they're going to need to do each day. Prevents you from having downtime on the floor to where employees aren't walking around going, well, what do I do today? So you have these, whether it's an on-the-fly employee who fills in as needed, you can easily set them up for success.
Absolutely. And just having this tool to be, proactive about it too. So you don't have Will showing up saying, "Hey, John's out today. What am I supposed to do?" Or "Who's taking John's work?" We can plan accordingly. Hey, we know John's going to be out. Let's allocate those duties off to other people efficiently. So, everyone can get things done. But again, having this ability to take a look at that and make those changes in live time and just be adaptable when needed is so helpful. Looking at a different
Absolutely.
aspect, by workstation. Maybe you've got different machines in your warehouse that some are used, maybe one doesn't work, and being able to see what's being done at every machine, what machines are open, and again, using that information to plan accordingly and just be as efficient as possible in your day-to-day work.
Right. So we have these two things that we've looked at. We looked at the master forecast here. We looked at job cards. And now I think it's important to have that third piece of that picture for our scheduling and planning is looking at schedules within Deskera.
Yeah, talking about just the scheduling piece is just being able to give yourself a big overview of what's going on uh, in your business, in your warehouse, what jobs are out there, and being able to see that. We'll take a look at our scheduling module here. I can see all the different jobs that I have that are started or are helping us fulfill orders. I can see the start date. I can see the end date. I get a very clear indicator if a job isn't completed and we're past that end date. It lets me know, hey, this is overdue. This needs to be prioritized. And what's even cooler is I can actually click in and I can see all the different aspects to a particular work order. It tells me what day the operation was done on. We talk about job workouts. What's a very common thing for businesses is maybe they outsource certain procedures because they don't have the means to do it in their own warehouse, or it makes more financial sense to have that job outsourced. Just because it's not being done in your floor, it is a crucial part of your day-to-day business and making sure that you're fulfilling those orders and getting those orders created. And to have that visibility in scheduling module of job workouts are great. Having a very clear indicator if something is overdue. I can say, hey, this is done for that wood seat. I've got a job workout. Should have been done by now. It's not. I know, hey, I can call that up and say, hey, what's the holdup? And use that information. Hey, maybe that's not a great outsourced manufacturer that I want to use because our orders are constantly being delayed. But having this visibility, not having to write any of this by hand, but just having everything, I can make this as simple or as extensive as I want it to look like, based on what I want to see. And just having this view without having to do this manually is so beneficial.
Absolutely, Taylor. Thank you. Yeah. So when we look through these different modules and we consider the ways that we'd be doing all this manually and we're adapting to that data, we think of the potential for human error with each of these different processes where it's so easy for data to get lost in the mix, or maybe you make one mistake here and it's not going to transfer over to that next spot. And then you have information that's not quite lining up for you. Working through this, it's so valuable being able to have access to all that information and be able to adapt and run your business the way that works for you with the information that you have available.
Yep, exactly. Being able to reduce the human error and make changes on the fly based on the information presented to you, all in one screen, all on one software, not having to manipulate all these different documents in front of you, giving a platform where everyone in your business can see. You can assign permissions for what they want to see, and using this tool to plan efficiently, communicate efficiently, and just overall just have a more efficient way of going about your day-to-day business operations.
Great. Thank you so much, Taylor. Thanks for taking the time to walk us through that. Before we let you go to get back to your piano back there, if anybody's interested in more information, please reach out. I'm Tim McLaughlin, tim.mclaughlin@deskera.com. Be happy to share more information. You can find Taylor Otto at taylor.otto@deskera.com, or you can always reach out to our sales line at sales@deskera.us. Taylor, anything else you'd like to share today?
Just to echo what Tim said, if you have any comments on what you saw today or any tool on Deskera, really reach out to us. We'd love to have a conversation with you on how we can help your business.
Thank you, Taylor. Thanks to everybody for tuning in, and hopefully we will see you all next week for another webinar. Have a great week.
Thanks, everyone.